Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Vihari Juki Jai Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Sai Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupa Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pavishtam Vishnupa Rashata Rashata Shishimar Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shmad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupad Rashata Rashata Shmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada Ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gorkshara Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai Nityal Pravishta Vaiṣṇavas Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Rupano Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhatta Dasagurnath Sharda Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Rishi Gaur Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जाय श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत जय श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय जय श्री गौर जय श्री वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय द गौड़ीय भाष्य श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय श्री हरि अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकायै तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। आजानुलम्बितभुजौ कनकावदातौ सङ्कीर्तनैकपितरौ कमलायताक्षौ विश्वम्भरौ द्विजवरौ युगधर्मपालौ वन्दे जगत्प्रियकरौ करुणावतारौ। नमस्त्रिकालसत्याय जगन्नाथसुताय च सभृत्याय सपुत्राय सकलत्राय ते नमः। जय 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 विश्वम्भर द्विजराज जय विश्वम्भर प्रिय वैष्णव समाज गौरचंद्र जय धर्म सेतु महाधीर जय संकीर्तनमय सुंदर शरीर जय नित्यानंदेर बांधव धन प्राण जय गदाधर अद्वैतेर प्रेम धाम जय श्री जगदानंद प्रिय अतिशय जय वक्रेश्वर काशीश्वरेर हृदय जय जय शिवासादि प्रिय वर्गनाथ जीव प्रतिकोर प्रभु शुभ दृष्टिपात मध्यखंड कथा जेन अमृतेर खंड जे कथा सुनिले घुचे अंतर पाषंड मध्यखंड कथा भाई सुनो एक चित्ते संकीर्तन आरंभ होइलो जेनो मते तवाय वास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वं नायमां चरणान्तिकम्। भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये Kripamai tvam sharanam prapanna vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. Ore mura lok shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Beshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Chaitanya Mangal, Jहाँ रश्रवणे नाशे सर्वयमंगल, Chaitanya Nitāya Jate Janiye Mahima, Jate Jani Krishna Bhakti Siddhanter Sima, Bhagavate Jata Bhakti Siddhanter Sar, Likhiya Chen Iha Jani Koriya Udhar, Chaitanya Mangala Shune Jadi Pashandi Javan, Sheho Maha Vaiṣṇava Hoy Totokon, Manushe Rachite Nare Aiche Granta Dhanya, Vrindavana Dasa Mukhe Vakta Shri Chaitanya, Vrindavana Dasa Pode Koti Namaskar, Aiche Granta Korite Ho Tarila Sangsar, Narayani Chaitanya Ruchishta Bhajan, Tar Gharve Janmila Shri Dasa Vrindavan, तार की अद्भुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन, जहाँ श्रवणे शुद्ध कोइलो त्रिभुवन, सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार, वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृतेर धार. By nature, all the activities of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they are described by Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, the Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata ki jai, Jai Śrī Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Śrīman Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Śrī Advaita Ācārya ki jai, the Lord's pastimes in Advaita's house ki jai. All right, Hari Bo. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, Nri Hari Prabhu and Bhavatarani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. And let's see on YouTube and Facebook, Raseshwari Mataji, Hari Priya Didi, Rup Manjari Didi, and Nitai and Kishore Prabhu, Hari Bo. Dandavat Pranams, everybody. And whoever else there is there. Okay, so I'm going to read this summary by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, and then we will. Actually, I wonder if I should just read the translations and we could read the summary at the end. I think I might do that. Because we're gonna have 2 more days of reading this. So, okay. This chapter describes Sriman Mahaprabhu's visits to devotees' houses with Nityananda, Advaita's distress resulting from being offered respect by Gaurasundar, Advaita's tricks to remove that distress, Gaurasundar's wandering in the city and his visit with Nityananda to the house of a Vamachari sannyasi, their acceptance of fruits at the house of the sannyasi, Gaura and Nityananda's arrival at this, so that's what we read about yesterday. And when the sannyasi tried to offer Ananda. Then today we're going to be reading about Gaura and Nityananda's arrival at the house of Advaita Ācārya, Advaita's explanation of jñāna-yoga, the Lord's beating Advaita, and revelation of his glories after hearing his explanations, Advaita Ācārya's happiness and declaration, Examples of the inauspicious results of worshipping demigods. The Lord's warning to everyone about blasphemy of Vaiṣṇavas. I think that's where we're going to end today. And then tomorrow we'll read about the Lord's acceptance of food at Advaita's house and Advaita's glorification of Nityananda on the pretext of expressing anger. And then, that's it. That will be tomorrow. Okay. So, how much time do we have for the summary? We have 15 minutes. Okay, I think we can get this and finish this in 15 minutes. Hari Bo Vangsiwala Prabhu and Vidyalala Sadidi. Hare Krishna. Okay. All glories to Vishwambar, the Lord of all Vaishnavas. O Lord, please deliver the living entities by giving them your devotional service. In this way, Lord Vishwambar performed pastimes in Navadvip that were not seen by all. In the company of Nityananda and Gadadhar, the Lord enjoyed pastimes in the houses of his devotees. All the devotees were filled with the Lord's ecstasy. They saw the entire world in relationship to Krishna. They were constantly absorbed in love of God and had no external consciousness. They had no engagement other than the performance of Sankirtan. Of all the devotees, Acārya Gosai was most blissful. No one was able to understand his unfathomable characteristics. The glories of Lord Chaitanya's great devotee Advaita, the Lord of Shantipur, are known by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya to only a few devotees. When Vishwambar regained his external consciousness, he would offer respect to all the Vaiṣṇavas, and particularly to Advaita. He'd give him lots of respect. As a result of this, the Lord of Shantipur was unhappy. His mind rumbled, and his heart felt no relief. This thief constantly harasses me by giving up his superior position and grabbing hold of my feet. The Lord is most powerful, so by force I cannot check him from taking the dust from my feet. The only alternative I have is the power of devotional service, for no one can recognize Vishwambar without devotional service. When I smash his illusion into pieces, then only will my name Advaita Singha be glorified. This thief has become proud after defeating Bhrigu, but he doesn't know that I have hundreds of disciples like Bhrigu. I will make the Lord so angry that he will punish me by his own hand. Although the Lord has incarnated to preach devotional service, I will not show any respect to such devotional service. This is my resolution. If I do not accept devotional service, then the Lord will forget himself out of anger and punish me by pulling my hair. After contemplating in this way, Advaita Prabhu happily departed with Haridas. He came home on the pretext of some work and contemplated his resolution. Intoxicated with ecstasy, he constantly swayed back and forth as he glorified Gyan while commenting on the book named Yoga Vasishta. He said, "Without Gyan, what power does devotional service to Vishnu have? Therefore, Gyan has all potency, and it is the life of all. Without Gyan, what is there in Vishnu Bhakti? One who does not understand such Gyan is comparable to a person who leaves his wealth at home and then searches for it in the forest. Devotional service to Vishnu is like a mirror, while Gyan is like the eyes. Without the use of a mirror, what is the use of a mirror if one has no eyes? I've studied all the scriptures from beginning to end and have come to the conclusion that Gyan is the essence of everything. Not Bhakti, Gyan. Haridas knew well the characteristics of Advaita. Therefore, on hearing his explanation, he laughed loudly. Maha atta attahas. Such are the unfathomable characteristics of Advaita Prabhu. They are auspicious for the devotees and impediments for the miscreants. Lord Vishwambar is like a desire tree that fulfills everyone's desires. Therefore, he understood Advaita's resolution. Hari Bol Sudevi Didi. One day the Lord was joyfully wandering about the city, looking at his creation with Nityananda. Brahma considered himself fortunate. The Lord is mercifully looking at my artistic work. It appeared that 2 moons were wandering about, and everyone appreciated their presence according to their surrender. All the demigods watched from outer space. On seeing the 2 moons, various thoughts went through their minds. On seeing the presence of the moon-like lords, they considered their planets to be the earth, and the earth to be heaven. By the influence of the moon-like lords, they considered themselves to be human beings, and the human beings to be demigods. On seeing the 2 moons, they thought, "We have never seen 2 moons together in heaven." One of the demigods said, "Listen to my words. One is the original moon, and the other is a reflection." Another demigod said, "I think that out of our good fortune, Lord Narayan has provided us with 2 moons." Someone said, "The Father and the Son are one. I think one is Mercury, the son of the moon." It was not at all wonderful that the demigods were bewildered by the Lord's form, which even the Vedas cannot ascertain. In this way, Nityananda and the son of Jagannath Mishra wandered about the city. Addressing Nityananda, Vishwambhar said, "Let us go to Advaita Ācārya's house in Shantipur." The 2 joyful, most restless lords then set out on the path to Advaita Ācārya's house. Halfway down the road, near Muluka, is a village named Lalitapur, which is situated near the Ganga. In that village lived a householder sannyasi. His house was on the side of the road near the Ganga. The Lord asked Nityananda, "Do you know whose ashram this is and who stays here?" Nityananda replied, "O Lord, this is a house of a sannyasi." The Lord then said, "If we are fortunate, we can meet him." The 2 Prabhus smiled as they went to the sannyasi's house. Vishwambar thereupon offered obeisances to the sannyasi. On seeing Vishwambar's most enchanting form, beautiful limbs, and smiling face, the sannyasi, in great satisfaction, offered him various benedictions. He said, "May you achieve wealth, family, good wife, and learning, dhan, vangsha, suvivaha, and vidyalabh, ho vidyalabh." The Lord said, "O Goshai, this is not a benediction. Rather, you should say, 'May you attain the mercy of Krishna.' Tore ho Krishner prasad." You should be saying that. Eh nahi ashirvad. What you're saying is not an ashirvad. It's not a blessing. The benediction of devotional service to Vishnu is inexhaustible and indestructible. Whatever you have said, O Goshai, does not befit you." The sannyasi smiled and said, "I am now directly experiencing what I have previously heard about. If good advice is given, people will chase you with a stick. The behavior of this son of a Brahmin is just like that. I happily awarded him the benediction of wealth, and what to speak of appreciating it, he found fault in me." The sannyasi said, "Listen, O son of a Brahmin, why do you criticize my benediction? If one who has taken birth in this world does not engage in sense gratification, does not enjoy beautiful women, and does not accumulate wealth, then what is the use of his life? And you are embarrassed to accept the benediction of such wealth? Tell me, even if you have devotion to Vishnu, what will you eat if you do not have wealth?" On hearing the words of the sannyasi, the Lord smiled and raised his hand to his forehead. Ay, 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 ay. By this action, Mahaprabhu taught everyone not to aspire for anything other than devotional service. Rup Manjari Didi, she said, I guess I have to catch up on yesterday to find out what on earth a householder sannyasi is. Presumably Gaudiya Bhashya explains. Actually, did it explain? I can't even remember it. I don't think it did explain so much about householder sannyasi. Calls it a Dadi sannyasi. Actually, is a Dari sannyasi like somebody who has a beard? Bearded sannyasi? 1 second, let's look up that word, Dari. No, it's a Dari would be like a beard, right? I don't even know what Dari means, Dari sannyasi. Yeah. Huh. Anyhow, I wonder in the Sanskrit dictionary. I'm just looking it up in the Sanskrit dictionary. 1 second. Dari. 1 second. Dari. Huh. No, in the dictionary it just says rent, cleft, hole. I don't understand. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this does remind me of one sannyasi that who has like girlfriends and like openly has a girlfriend but still wears sannyas clothes and has a whole philosophy behind it. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that. Okay. The sannyasi said, "Listen, O son of Brahman, why do you criticize my benediction? If one has taken birth in this world, if he doesn't engage in all these things, then and he doesn't try to accumulate wealth, beautiful women, blah, 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 then what is the use of his life? And you are embarrassed to accept the benediction of such wealth?" By this action, Mahaprabhu taught everyone not to aspire for anything other than devotional service. "Listen, O sannyasi Goshai, we will all certainly eat whatever is destined by our karma," Mahaprabhu said. Mahaprabhu said, if wealth and family are the aim of life, then tell me, why are they taken away at the time of death? No one wants a fever. Why then does fever appear and afflict one's body? Listen, Goshai, the cause of this is karma. What great personality knows this in truth? Some people claim that the Vedas indicate the heavenly planets are the goal of life. But such teachings are simply the compassion of the Vedas on the foolish. People take great pleasure in material happiness, and the Vedas offer directions according to their mentality. What is the fault of the Vedas? The Vedas declare, by taking bath in the Ganga and chanting the name of Hari, one will achieve wealth and children, and people therefore engage in such activities. If one somehow or other takes bath in the Ganga and chants the name of Hari, then by the influence of those activities, one will easily achieve devotional service. Foolish people do not understand this intention of the Vedas, so they give up devotional service to Krishna and engage in sense gratification. O Goshai, try to understand what is good and what is bad. There is no benediction other than devotional service to Krishna. While instructing the sannyasi, the Supreme Lord and spiritual master of everyone taught devotional service through Vedic evidence. I'm just looking at the comments here. Oh, Shiva Kishore said it did. It's pure nonsense. Srila Saraswati Thakur did explain it in his Gaudiya Bhashya somewhere, and he said it's pure nonsense. Rup Manjari is saying, and in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says Mahaprabhu tells someone, this is Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It says, if someone passing on the road smelled this oil on my head, he would think me a Dari sannyasi, a tantric sannyasi who keeps women. Ah, okay. Cool. Thanks for that. Okay, so while instructing the sannyasi, the Supreme Lord, he taught devotional service through Vedic evidence. Whatever Lord Chaitanya speaks is the absolute truth. Sinful living entities who blaspheme others do not accept his words. On hearing the Lord's words, the sannyasi smiled and thought, I can understand this Brahmin has become crazy because of misguidance. Oh, he says mantra karan. says, "E puji pagal dvija mantra karan." So I think, I guess mantra, is that like due to some crazy mantra that he's being controlled like this, or is it like mantri, like mantra, like I don't know. I think it's meaning mantra though. Okay. It appears that this sannyasi, the one Nityananda who's with him, it appears that this sannyasi has spoiled this Brahmin boy's mind and is taking him away somewhere. After hearing Mahaprabhu establish the supremacy and great necessity of devotional service, the Dadi sannyasi, being unable to prove it, he considered Mahaprabhu a crazy boy. And in seeing Nityananda Prabhu dressed as a sannyasi with Mahaprabhu, the Dadi sannyasi thought that Nityananda Prabhu had certainly deceived this Brahmin boy by polluting his intelligence. The sannyasi said, "The time has come when I appear ignorant before a child. I have traveled throughout the world to Ayodhya, Mathura, Haridwar, Badarikashram. I have been to all the holy places like Gujarat, Kashi, Gaya, Vijayanagar, and Sri Lanka. Yet, I could not understand what is good and what is bad. Now this child, who's still drinking his mother's milk, is teaching me." In this way, Lord Vishwambar performed pastimes in Navadvip that were not seen by all. Oh, Hare Krishna Devangna. Hare Krishna. One second. Oops. Happened. In the company of Nityananda. Hey, I went all the way back to the beginning. I don't know why that happened. Oh wait, no. What was the last thing? That were not seen. There. Okay. Oh, I don't know why it jumped there. Oh God, that's so annoying. What's a keyword? Oh shoot. What was one of the last things that we read? Okay, Ayodhya. Yeah, okay, I found it. Sorry about that. Yeah, I could not understand what is good and bad. Now this child who is still drinking his mother's milk is teaching me. Nityananda smiled and said, "Listen, Goshai, there's no need to argue with a child. I know well your glories. For my sake, forgive all his offenses." When the sannyasi heard glorification of himself, he became pleased and immediately invited them for lunch. Nityananda said, "We have to leave immediately for some important work. You may give us something that we can eat on the way after taking. You can give us something that we can eat on the way after taking bath." The sannyasi said, "Take bath here, eat something, feel refreshed, and then go." The two Prabhus incarnated to deliver the sinful living entities, so they agreed to remain in the sannyasi's house. After getting relief from their journey by taking bath in the Ganga, the two Prabhus came and sat down to eat some fruit. First, they offered items like milk, mangoes, and jackfruit to Lord Krishna, and then they sat down to eat before the sannyasi. And notice how they're not eating any grains; they're just eating fruits, milk. So that's always what I do whenever I'm in a meat eater's house, or like a house of somebody who's not a devotee, and I'll accept fruit from them, but not anything else. Like that's what I've learned living in the month. The sinful sannyasi drank wine. Making some signs to Nityananda, he spoke as follows. "Listen, Shripad, shall I bring you some Ananda? Where else can I find guests like you?" Since Nityananda had visited various places, he could understand that this person was a drunkard sannyasi, a Madhyapa sannyasi. The sannyasi repeatedly asked, "Shall I bring some Ananda?" Nityananda replied, "We should go now." On seeing the Cupid-like beauty of the two lords, the sannyasi's wife watched them with full concentration. She told her husband, "Why are you disturbing their meal?" The Lord said, The Lord innocently said, "What is this Ananda the sannyasi is talking about?" Nityananda replied, "I think he's talking about wine." Vishvambara remembered Lord Vishnu. He washed his hands and immediately left. Vishnu, Vishnu. After jumping into the Ganga, the two restless lords went to the house of Advaita. They went to the house of Advaita Ācārya by floating in the waters of the Ganga. The Lord bestowed mercy on womanizers and drunkards, but he annihilates blasphemers, even if they are well versed in Vedanta. Although the sannyasi drank wine and intimately associated with women, the Lord visited his house. In the course of their conversation, the Lord taught him religious principles. He took rest in his house and ate there. Even in somebody so sinful like that, the Lord took rest and ate in his house. That's how merciful he was. But even if the sannyasi could not attain perfection in this life, he would attain in the next. But the blasphemers will never achieve perfection. That is why non-devotee sannyasis cannot see the Lord. The sannyasis of Kashi are evidence of this. As described in the Madhya-khaṇḍa, when the Lord went to Kashi, all the sannyasis there heard about his arrival. The sannyasis became happy to hear about the arrival of that great personality, and they thought, "We will see Chaitanya." They were all conversant with Vedanta and practiced at all austerities. They were practiced at all austerities. They had lived their entire lives in Kashi and were greatly renowned. So from the external viewpoint, they were like full of the mode of goodness, right? They had very high class standard of living, followed all the rules, studied Vedanta. They seemed like, yet all their good qualities were nullified by one fault. They taught Vedanta, but did not explain devotional service to Vishnu. Nabhakani Vishnu Bhakti. The lion-like Gaur, the super soul of all, knows everything. Although he went to Kashi, he did not give darshan to those sannyasis. While in Varanasi, he hid in Ramachandra Puri's ashram, where he stayed for 2 months. 2 days before the observance of Vishvarukshora, the Lord departed secretly so that he would not be seen by others. Later, the sannyasis heard that Lord Chaitanya had left, so they would not be able to see them. They would not be able to see him, and all their intelligence was stolen away simply because of their indulgence in the sin of blasphemy. Yet even after his departure, they did not feel remorse. They said, "We all have a common lineage, so why did he leave without speaking to us? Why did he forsake his religious duties by leaving 2 days before Vishvarukshora?" If one is devoid of devotional service, this type of mentality develops. Lord Shiva never accepts the worship of a blasphemer. So that's where we read up to yesterday. Since the living entities who have not awakened to devotional service, the Gaudiya Bhashya, I'm just rereading that. Since the living entities who have not awakened to devotional service, which is the eternal propensity of the soul, are attached to the performance of ritualistic activities like Vishvarukshora, they cannot understand the sweetness of the devotional service preached by Śrī Caitanya-dev. Sadashiv, the Lord of Kashi, never accepts the worship of those who blaspheme Vaiṣṇavas. Rup Manjari said, I think the real point of the visit was to be kind to his poor wife. Yeah, seriously. Okay, now we're continuing on from where we left off yesterday. Kashi te je paraninde, she shiver dandya, shiva aparadhe Vishnu, nahe tar bandhya. Those who blaspheme others in Kashi are punished by Lord Shiva, and those who offend Shiva cannot become devotees of Vishnu. Gaudiya Bhashya. Mahadev, the proprietor of Kashi, punishes the residents of Kashi who blaspheme the Supreme Lord. The topmost Vaishnav Mahadev punishes such condemned living entities for their offenses against the Vaishnavas and makes them bereft of devotion to Vishnu. Sabar koribo gora sundar udhar, Vyatirikta Vaishnava nindaka durachar. Lord Gaurasundar will deliver everyone except the sinful people who blaspheme Vaishnavas. Gaudiya Bhashya. By Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Śrī Gaurasundar's preaching of devotional service is meant to deliver everyone in the world. But Mahaprabhu did not display any compassion for delivering the sinful Mayavadis who indulge in blaspheming Vaishnavas. Rather, he enacted the pastime of accepting the hospitality of a drunken debauchee. Yet he did not award the Mayavadi Vedantists who were envious of Vaishnavas the good fortune of attaining his darshan. Madhya ghar koila snan she bhojan, nindaka Vedanti na pailo darshan. He took bath and ate at the house of a drunkard. But the blasphemous Vedantists could not get his darshan. Chaitanya dande jar, chitte nahi bhoy, janme janme she jama dandya hoy. Janme janme she jeev jama dandya hoy. Sorry. A living entity who does not fear Lord Chaitanya's punishment is punished by Yamaraj, birth after birth. Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Caitanya-dev punished the Mayavad Vedantists, by adopting the principle of non-cooperation with them. Those who are not afraid of such severe punishment are sufficiently punished in every life by Yamaraj. All demigods are servants of the Supreme Lord. They constantly engage in glorifying topics of the Supreme Lord. People who are averse to the service of the demigods and Brahmins can never become attached to the lotus feet of Śrī Gaurasundar. If one does not have intense attachment for the lotus feet of Śrī Caitanya, then useless inclination towards impersonalism is completely futile. Activities like studying Mayavad Vedanta, becoming devoid of devotion to Vishnu, and renouncing material enjoyment are all useless and futile for people who are bereft of Sri Mahaprabhu's service. Oh, thank you so much, Vidyalala Sadidi. Yeah, it would be really fun to make bedtime stories for kids and pastimes. Yeah, especially Jaiva Dharma. Yeah, that's a great idea. I would love to be involved with something like that. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, actually, when I was in New Braj, Badger, the devotees there were talking about making audiobooks with different characters, like making like dramatic audiobooks for children and for all sorts of people. Like Badger's full of like amazing talent in that area also. Okay. The acceptance of sannyas. Sorry, I didn't read the book.
Amazing talent in that
Ajabhava Anant. Oh, sorry. What was that? Nidhi Hari Prabhu?
No, that in all times we had radio shows.
Oh, sorry. What was that? Nidhi Hari Prabhu?
In all times we had radio shows.
Oh, sorry. What was that?
Sorry, I have both things looping at the same time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Project YouTube on the TV. No, that we used to have, and the bodies made actually really nice shows for the children too, and adults, radio shows. There was an audio, all enacted. Bhatrini was one of the actors. It's too bad she will give you more details, but she's a little busy. Yeah, and we were talking about that with Mangala, Devi Dasi, Mangala Didi, in Big Island, about doing like that, doing a recording theater, like audio theater.
Yeah,
and I think Mahivarta will be terrific. I hope you can hear this. Mahivarta is such a good actor, and
yeah, we have to discuss this more. Like maybe like at another time we can think of a project and we can collaborate, and yeah, that would be an exciting project. Thanks for bringing that up also, Vidya Lala Sadidi.
Yeah, thank you.
Videos. Yes. Aja bhava ananta kamala sarva mata sabar shri mukhe nirantar jar katha heno gora chandra jashe jar nahi rati vyartatar sannyasa vedanta pate mati. The acceptance of sannyas and the study of Vedanta of one who has no attachment for the glorification of Sri Gaurachandra, who is constantly praised by Brahma, Shiva, Ananta, and Kamala, the mother of all, that person's study of Vedanta is useless. Heno mate dui prabhu apana anande sukhe bhashi cholilen janavi tarange. In this way, the two lords blissfully floated in the waves of the Ganga, all the way down to Advaita Ācārya's house. Mahaprabhu Vishwambar koro ye hunkar muishe muishe vole bar bar. Vishwambar Mahaprabhu roared loudly and repeatedly exclaimed, Muishe, I am he, I am he. Mohare anilo nada shayana bhangiya ekhane vakhane gyan bhakti lukaiya. Nara disturbed my sleep and brought me here. And now he is covering the glories of devotional service by preaching Gyan. Dar shasti koro aji dekho paroteke ke mote dekhuk aji Gyan yoga rakhe. See yourself how I will punish him today. Today we will see how he defends the process of Gyan. Darje garje Mahaprabhu Ganga srote bhashe Mon hoy Nityananda mone mone hase. As Mahaprabhu threatened and roared while floating in the current of the Ganga, Nityananda remained silent and smiled to himself. Dui Prabhu bhashi jai Gangar upare Ananta Mukunda jeno Kiroda sagare. The two lords floated in the waves of the Ganga, like Mukunda and Ananta in the ocean of milk. Gaudiya Bhashya. The comparison of Sri Gaurasundar with Mukunda and Nityananda with Ananta, who acts as the bed of Lord Vishnu in the ocean of milk, is illustrated in the example of Gaur Nityananda's floating in the waters of the Ganga. I think that's so cool. No need for a boat, just float in the Ganga all the way to where you want to get to. Bhakti Yoga Prabhave Advaita Mahabal Bhujilen Chitte Mor Hoi Bekfal. By the influence of his devotional service, Advaita Prabhu was most powerful. Bhakti Yoga Prabhave Advaita Mahabal. He understood that his desire to be punished by the Lord would soon be fulfilled. Bhujilen chitte mor hoi bekfal. I say Thakur krodhe Advaita janiya jñāna-yoga bakhane adhika matta hoya. Advaita Prabhu realized that the Lord was coming in an angry mood, and so he began to explain Gyan more and more enthusiastically. He's like getting excited. He's just riling the Lord up. Chaitanya bhakter ke bhujite pare lila Ganga pate dui Prabhu asiya milila. Who can understand the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya's devotees? In this way, the two lords floated down the Ganga to Advaita's house. Krodh mukho Vishwambar Nityananda sange dekhoye Advaita dole jnāna-nanda range. Accompanied by Nityananda, the angry Vishwambar saw Advaita rocking back and forth in the happiness of Gyan. Gaudiya Bhashya. Shri Advaita Prabhu desired to achieve abundant mercy in the form of chastisement from Shri Gaurasundar. So he rocked back and forth out of respect for Mayavad, which is averse to devotional service. Therefore, on arriving there with Nityananda, Mahaprabhu displayed anger towards those envious of devotional service. Prabhu dekhi Haridas dandavata hoy Achyuta pranama kore Advaita tanai. When Haridas and Achyuta, the son of Advaita, saw the Lord, they offered their obeisances. Gaudiya Bhashya. At that time, Haridas Thakur was living at the house of Advaita in Shantipur. When Mahaprabhu arrived there, Achyuta, the son of Advaita, and Thakur Haridas both offered their obeisances. Yeah, Haridas Thakur and Advaita Ācārya had a very close relationship. We see them together a lot. They go back, far back. Advaita grihini mane namaskare, dekhiya prabhur murti chintito antare. The wives of Advaita offered their obeisances to the Lord within their minds. They were filled with anxiety on seeing the Lord's mood. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Advaita has more than one wife. Gaudiya Bhashya. According to worldly etiquette, the two wives of Advaita did not externally offer obeisances to Mahaprabhu, but they internally accepted subordination to him by giving up false ego. What was her name? Śrī Devi? I think her name was Śrī Devi. I think we read about one of his in one of our readings, and I never had seen that before. Oh, and Kishore says they were guru and disciple. Wait, who are you? Śrī Devi. Okay, Kishore confirmed. Yes, Śrī Devi. Wait, who are you saying was guru and disciple? Okay, according to Gaudiya Bhashya, I just read that. Vishwambar teja jeno koti surjamoy, dekhiya sabar chitte upajilo bhoy. Vishwambar's bodily effulgence was like that of millions of suns. Everyone became frightened on seeing this. Krodh mukhe bole Prabhu, are nara, bolo dekhi gyan bhakti duite ki ke bada. So Mahaprabhu said, one second. In an angry mood, the Lord said, "O Nara, tell me, which is superior, Gyan or Bhakti?" Advaita boloye sarva kala boro gyan, jar nahi gyan tar bhakti te ki kam. Advaita replied, "Gyan is always superior. What is the use of devotional service for one who does not have gyan?" Gaudiya Bhashya. On being asked by Mahaprabhu to ascertain the difference between Gyan and Bhakti, Advaita informed him that Gyan was superior to Bhakti. He also informed him that for a person on the path of Gyan, there was no need to remain on the path of devotional service. Okay, Kishore says that Advaita and Haridas. Advaita is guru and Haridas is disciple. Interesting. I've never heard it like that. That's interesting. Gyan boro Advaiter shuniya bachan, krode bahya pasharilo shachir nandan. On hearing Advaita say that Gyan was superior, the son of Shachi lost his external consciousness out of anger. Pida hoite Advaitere dhoriya aniya, swahaste kilai prabhu uthane padiya. He dragged Advaita from his seat into the courtyard and began beating him with his own hands. Oh my God, that's really intense. Gaudiya Bhashya. Since Advaita said that Gyan was more glorious than Bhakti, Mahaprabhu dragged him into the courtyard and began to profusely beat him in order to teach people. Advaita grihini pati vrata jagan mata, sarva tattva janiya okoroye vyagrata. Although she knew everything, Advaita's chaste wife and mother of the universe, she tried to restrain the Lord. Bhura vipro, rakho pran, kahar shikhai eto koro apaman. Spare his life. He is an old Brahman. For whose benefit do you chastise him? Eto bura bamanere, ar ki koriba, kono kichu hoile edaite na pariba. This Brahman is so old. What more will you do to him? If something happens to him, you will be responsible for the consequences. Gaudiya Bhashya. The wife of Advaita said, Advaita has become very old. Killing a Brahman is prohibited in the scriptures. If a Brahman is killed by excessive beating, then it is impossible for the person responsible to become free from the offense. Pativrata vakya shuni Nityānanda hase, bhoye Krishna sangaraye Prabhu Haridase. On hearing those words befitting a chaste wife, Nityananda smiled. Haridas Prabhu remembered Krishna in fear. Nityananda smiled, but Haridas, he was remembering Krishna in fear. Krode Prabhu Pativrata Vakya Nahi Shune Darje Garje Advaitere Sadamba Vachane. In his anger, the Lord did not hear those words befitting a chaste wife. He roared and threatened Advaita with proud words. Shutiya achilo kir sagarer majhe, are nada nidra bhanga mor tor kaje. I was sleeping in the ocean of milk when you, Nada, woke me to fulfill your mission. Bhakti prakashili tui, amare aniya, ebe vakanis gyan bhakti lukaiya. And see, everything's in the tui form. Tui. Vakanish gyan bhakti lukaiya. You brought me to reveal the science of devotional service, but now you are covering devotional service with your explanations on gyan. You woke me up, brought me here to preach to disseminate bhakti, and now you're going completely against that and teaching gyan. You're covering that bhakti which you brought me here to disseminate. Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Advaita Prabhu revealed the glories of a devotional service by inducing Srimad Mahaprabhu to appear in this material world. But since at this point he was misguiding people with his explanations on gyan that cover the propensity of service to the Supreme Lord, his original purpose was being frustrated. This was revealed by Mahaprabhu. Jadi lukai bi bhakti tor chitte ache tabe mor prakasha korili kon kaje. If your intention was to cover devotional service, then why did you have me incarnate? Tomar sankalpa mui na kori anyatha tumi more bidambana koroho sarvatha. I never frustrate your resolve, but you always deceive me. Advaita Ācārya Prabhu Boshila Duare Prakashe Apana Tattva Koriya Hunkare. After releasing Advaita, the Lord sat down at the doorway and began to loudly reveal his own glories. Gaudiya Bhashya. After he stopped beating Advaita Prabhu, the Lord sat down at the doorway and began to loudly reveal the topics of his wonderful pastimes. Oh, and just one thing I forgot to mention. Oh, I did mention, didn't I? But you see, he's saying Lukaibi and Tor Chitta. He's speaking Korili. He's speaking in the way that you would speak. Like it's a very disrespectful way of speaking, or if you're like extremely like two lovers, or like, you know, or it's like a very disrespectful or very intimate way of speaking. If when you use this kind of tense, Lukaibi, Korili, Tor, Tui, all that. So now, yeah, in the language, you can see how he was now no more offering Advaita Prabhu respect. So Mahaprabhu is now sitting in the doorway, and he's saying, Are kangsa je mari lo she mui, are nara shakala janish deko tui. Oh Nara, it was I who killed Kamsa. You know everything, don't you? Gaudiya Bhashya. He who killed Kamsa is the Supreme Lord Gaurasundar. This fact was well known to Advaita Ācārya. Aja bhava shesha rama kore mor seva, mor chakre morilo shrigal vasudeva. Brahma, Shiva, Shesh, and Lakshmi all engage in my service. The cunning impostor Vasudev was killed by my chakra. Gaudiya Bhashya. Brahma, Shiva, and Anantadev, and Lakshmi all engage in the service of the Supreme Lord. The Lord killed Shrigal Vasudev with his Sudarshan chakra. For a description of Shrigal Vasudev, one should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 66, and Brahma Vivarta Puran, Śrī Krishna Janmakanda, chapter 121. I've never heard him referred to as Shrigal Vasudev. That's like Jackal Vasudev. Mor chakre Varanasi, dohilo shakal, mor bane morilo Ravan Mahabal. Varanasi was completely burned by my chakra, and the mighty Ravan was killed by my arrow. Mor chakre katilo baner bahugan, mor chakra naraker hoilo maran. My chakra cut off the arms of Banasura, and my chakra destroyed Narakasura. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of these incidents, one should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapters 63 and 59. Muishe dhorilo giri diya bama hat, muishe anilo swarga hoite parijat. It was I who held up Govardhan hill with my left hand, and it was I who brought the parijata flower from heaven. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of these incidents, one should discuss Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapters 25 and 59. Muishe chahilu boli korilu prasad, muishe hiranya mari rakilu pralad. I deceived Bali and then bestowed mercy on him, and it was I who killed Hiranyakashipu to save Prahlad. For a description of these incidents, one should see Srimad Bhagavatam 8th Canto, chapters 18 to 23, and 7th Canto, chapter 8. E mata prabhu nija aishwarya prakashe, shuniya advaita prem sindhu maje bhashe. In this way, the Lord revealed his opulences, and Advaita floated in an ocean of ecstatic love while listening. Advaita finally got what he wanted. Shastipai Advaita Paramananda Moy, Hatte Tali Diya Nache Koriya Binoy. Advaita was filled with ecstasy after receiving his punishment. He clapped his hands and danced in humility. Jeno aparada koilo, teno shasti pailo, bhaloi korila prabhu alpe edailu. I have received proper punishment for my offense. O Lord, you are very kind and have actually given me only a token punishment. Ekono she thakuralo bhujilu tomar, dosh anurup shasti korila amar. Now I have realized your supremacy. You have suitably punished me for my fault. Ihate she prabhu bhrite chitte bolo pai, bolia anande nache shanti purai. Now the relationship between the Lord and his servant has been strengthened. After speaking in this way, the Lord of Shantipur danced in ecstasy. Anande advaita nache shakala angane, Bhrukuti Koriya Bole Prabhur Charane. I think this might be the 5th time now that we see Bhrukuti, and him frowning, like furrowing his eyebrows. Advaita danced in ecstasy throughout the courtyard. He frowned and spoke to the Lord as follows. Kotagelo ebe more tomar shestuti, Kotagelo ebe tor sheshab dhangati. Where has your glorification of me gone now? Where has all your deceitful behavior gone now? Gaudiya Bhashya. The word dhangati means pretension. Advaita said, where has all your glorification of me gone now? When I began preaching a non-devotional path, you beat me rather than glorify me. I never desired any service from you. I only desired to serve you. According to your pretentious nature, you have unrightfully offered me prayers. But now you cannot continue doing so. I am your eternal servant, and you are my eternal master. It is not proper for you to offer prayers to your servant. Your nature is to chastise your servant and accept his prayers. Rather than doing so, you have unrightfully glorified me. Now, rather than glorifying me, you have properly punished me. Durvasa na hoya mui jare kadarthibe, jar avashesh anna sarvange lepibe. I am not Durvasa Muni, who insulted by smearing his remnants all over your body. Gaudiya Bhashya. I am your eternal servant. I am not an oppressor of the Lord and the devotees as is I am not an oppressor of the Lord and the devotees as is Durvasa. If I had actually become envious of the devotional service of Hari like Durvasa, then you could have condemned me. But I am your devotee. It is mentioned in the Puranas that the Lord smeared the remnants of Durvasa's rice all over his body. Brigumui nahumui jar pada dhuli vakediya shivatsa hoi ba kutuhali. I am not Bhrigumuni, whose foot dust you happily accepted on your chest as Srivatsa. Sorry. Gaudiya Bhashya. For a description of this incident, one may refer to Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 89. Mor naam Advaita tomar shuddha das, janme janme tomar uchishte mor ash. My name is Advaita, and I am your unalloyed servant. My only wish is to honor your remnants, birth after birth. Uchishta prabhave nahi ganontor maya, korilata shashti ebe deho padachaya. By the influence of your remnants, I am unaffected by your illusory energy. You have punished me. Now give me the shelter of your lotus feet. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.6.46, it is stated, Tvayo pabhukta saragandha vaso lankara charchita uchishta bhojino dasas tava mayam jayemahi. Simply by decorating ourselves with the garlands, fragrant oils, clothes, and ornaments that you have already enjoyed, and by eating the remnants of your meals, we, your servants, will indeed conquer your illusory energy. Eto boli bhakti kori shantipur nath, porila prabhur pada laya matato. After saying this, the Lord of Shantipur devotedly fell down and placed his head at the Lord's feet. Sambhrame uttiya kole koilo vishvambhar, advaitere kole kori kandaye nirbhar. Vishvambar respectfully picked Advaita up and cried profusely as he embraced him. Advaiter bhakti dekhi Nityānanda Rai, grandana koroye jeno nadi vahi jai. On seeing Advaita's devotion, Nityananda Prabhu cried so profusely that it appeared as if a river was flowing from his eyes. Bhumite purilo kande Prabhu Hari Das, Advaita grihini kande joto das. Haridas Prabhu fell to the ground and cried. The wife of Advaita and all their servants began to cry. Kandaye achyutanandaya Advaita tanai, Advaita bhavana hoilo Krishna premoy. Achyutananda, the son of Advaita, also cried. Advaita's entire house became filled with ecstatic love of Krishna, Krishna premamoy. Advaitere Maria Lajit Vishvambar, Santoshe apane den Advaitere var. Vishvambar felt embarrassed for having beaten Advaita, so he happily awarded Advaita a benediction. Tilardheko je tomar koroye ashray, shekene patanga kita pashu pakhi noy. Jadi mor sthane kore shatay aparad, tatapi tahare moi koribo prasad. I will bestow mercy on any living entity, even an ant, insect, animal, or bird, who takes shelter of you for even a moment, even if that living entity commits hundreds of offenses against me. Varashuni kandaye Advaita Mahashay, charane dhoriya kohe koriya binoy. On hearing the benediction, Advaita Mahashay began to cry. He caught hold of the Lord's feet and humbly spoke as follows. Je tumi bolila Prabhu kabu mithya noy, mor ek pratigya shunoho Mahashay. O Lord, whatever you spoke can never prove false. But please listen to my declaration. Jadi tore na maniya more bhakti kore, she more bhakti tabe tahare sanghare. If one worships me but does not accept you, then may his devotion to me annihilate him. Yikes. and there are we were reading how there are even followers of Advaita today who do not accept Mahaprabhu. So their devotion to Advaita actually annihilates him. That's what Advaita Ācārya is. Gaudiya Bhashya. Advaita said, "O Lord Vishvambar, may the devotion of my descendants and so-called disciples who give up your service and eagerly engage in my service destroy them. May that so-called devotion destroy them. This is my declaration. Since the ignorant descendants and foolish disciples of Advaita do not consider Śrī Advaita Prabhu as the eternal servant of Śrī Caitanya-dev, but consider him Vishnu and consider Gaurasundar as Lakshmi, they fall from the path of devotional service and bring about their own ruination. Je tomar pada parma na kore bhajan, tore na manile kobhu nahe mor jan. One who does not worship your lotus feet and accept you as a supreme Lord is not dear to me. Gaudiya Bhashya. O Vishvambar, I will not accept anyone as my own if they have no love for the service of your lotus feet. I am prepared to totally forsake all such descendants and disciples. Even today, the Gaudiya Vaiṣṇavas consider such descendants of Advaita and their disciples as forsaken descendants and forsaken disciples. The prediction of Śrī Advaita Prabhu has borne fruit. The intimate disciples and descendants of Advaita Prabhu accepted subordination to Pandit Gadadhar. So the intimate and descendants of Advaita Prabhu, they accepted subordination to Gadadhar Pandit, but the hostile sons and disciples of Advaita did not accept Gadadhar Pandit Goswami's guidance and could not accept him as spiritual master. That was so nice. During Chaturmasya, one of the months of Chaturmasya, I think 2 of the months, no, maybe it's one of the months. No, I think it's 1 month. We sang every day the Gaur Gadadhar Ashtakam written by Achyutananda, who was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. Je tomare bhaje prabhu she mor jivan, na paro sahite mui tomar langhan. Anyone who worships you is my life and soul. I cannot tolerate a person who disregards you. Kishore is saying, Gaur Advaita ki jai. Gaudiya Bhashya. Since Mahaprabhu assumed the mood of a devotee, the foolish followers of Advaita accepted Vishvambar as the Ashray Vigraha, the worshipper, rather than the Vishay Vigraha, than the object of worship. As a result, they disregard Vishvambar, and even though out of foolishness they illegitimately try to become members of Vishnu's family, but rather than that, they end up as forsaken descendants and forsaken disciples. The non-duplicitous servants of Lord Chaitanya are the topmost devotees. Mahaprabhu's own servant, Advaita, is like the Lord's own life. Those who give up the service of Śrī Caitanya-dev, the Vishay Vigraha, and exploit Advaita's glories to maintain their own self-interest, remain eternally bereft of the Lord's mercy and become attached to pride and false prestige. Even today, some people who identify themselves as Advaita's descendants try to establish that the pure devotee's execution of pure devotional service is for gaining false prestige. This reveals their illegitimate pride. Such puffed up people with no understanding of the actual glories of devotional service proudly consider themselves as either Vaiṣṇavas belonging to Lord Vishnu's family or servants of that family's descendants, and thus merge into the abysmal waters of the ocean of pratishtha, the desire for material reputation. Pure devotees simply pray that Śrī Advaita Prabhu may forgive their offenses and give them good intelligence. Jadi mor putra hoy va kinkar, Vaiṣṇava paradi mui na dekho gochar. Wait, this is Mahaprabhu speaking? No, this is Advaita. Yeah, okay, so this is still Advaita speaking. That made me, okay. Okay, we just read that, right? Okay, so Advaita Ācārya says, Jadi mor putra hoy ba kinkar, Vaiṣṇava paradi mui na dekho gochar. Obviously, he says his son is servant. I just didn't read the whole thing. I cannot look at the face of a Vaiṣṇava paradhi, even if he happens to be my son or servant. Gaudiya Bhasha. I got confused because in the summary we read the Lord's explanation of being a Vaishnava Paradi. But anyways. Gaudiya Bhashya. When three of Śrī Advaita's sons and a few of his so-called disciples became offensive towards Śrī Caitanya-dev and his pure devotees, Advaita Prabhu severed all ties and affection with them. This is understood from Advaita's statement. From the time of his presence up to today, his forsaken sons and disciples of his descendants have no connection whatsoever with Śrī Advaita or Śrī Caitanya-dev. They glorify not their non-devotional credentials even today. Tomare langhiya jadi koti deva bhaje, she deva tahare sanghare kona vyaje. If one transgresses you and worships millions of demigods, those demigods will kill him on some pretext. Gaudiya Bhashya. The Supreme Lord's acceptance of the mood of a devotee with a desire to preach the beauty of his own devotional service, which has never been preached before, is the ideal example of mercy. If the worship offered to millions of demigods disregards Prem Bhakti and rejects the service of Sri Gaur Hari, who is resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, such worship can never counteract the offense committed by transgressing Vishvambhar. Even if so-called learned people who are averse to Sri Gaur become totally overwhelmed with the worship of various sanctified demigods, those very objects of worship certainly destroy their misguided worshippers on some pretext or other. Mui nahi bolo e veder bakhan, sudakshina maran tahar paraman. These are not simply my words. They are the words of the Vedas. The killing of Sudakshina is evidence of this. Gaudiya Bhashya. The Puranas composed by Sri Vedvyas are expansions of the original Vedic histories. The Puranas are written in Sanskrit. They are simple presentations of histories. Since respect has diminished for the Vedas, which were written in the ancient language of the gods, and since they are not easily found because of being ravaged in the course of time, it is simply foolishness to consider the Puranas as separate from the Vedas. The histories that explain the Vedas have been compiled in the Puranas. In those Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, Chapter 66, the narration of Sudakshina's destruction should be accepted as evidence for Advaita's statements. Sudakshina nama Kashi Rajer Nandan Mahasamadhiye Shiva Koilo Aradhan. Sudakshina was the son of the king of Kashi. He worshipped Lord Shiva with full attention. Gaudiya Bhashya. The phrase Mahasamadhiye means with full absorption. Samadhi, yeah. Parama Santoshe Shiva Bole Magovar Pabe Abhishta Abhichar Jagya Koro. In great satisfaction, Shiva told him, ask for a benediction. You will achieve your goal by performing the Abhichar Yagya. Gaudiya Bhashya. Abhichar Yagya refers to violent activities described in the Atharva Veda like killing and torturing. Yikes. Topics of violent activities like killing, bewildering, paralyzing, inducing envy, hypnotizing, and torturing are also found in the Tantras. That is why prescriptions for worshipping goddesses and performing fire sacrifices is also found therein. Yikes. Vishnu Bhakta Prati Jadi Koro Apaman Tabe She Jagetor Loibo Paran. So Mahadev said, ask for a benediction. You will achieve your goal by performing the Abhichar Yagya. But if you insult a devotee of Vishnu, I will kill you in the course of your sacrifice. Shiva kohilen vyaje she ihana bhuje Shiva gyai abhichar yagya gya bhaje. Without understanding the true intention of Shiva's words, Sudakshina performs the Abhichar Yagya on the order of Shiva. Yagya hoite ute ek mahabhayankar teen koro charana trishir rupa dharo. A formidable demon with 3 hands, 3 legs, and 3 heads appeared from the sacrificial fire. Tala jangha paramana bole baramago Raja bole dwaraka porao mahabhago. That demon with legs as long as palm trees said, "Ask for a benediction." The king replied, "O fortunate one, burn Dwarka to ashes." Shuniya dukhita hoilo mahashaiva murti, bhujilen ihar ichar nahi purti. On hearing this order, that great demon, who is the creation of Shiva, became distressed. He realized that the king's desire could not be fulfilled. Anurodhe gela matra dwarakar pashe, dwaraka rakshaka chakra kedar diya ase. The demon was obliged to go to Dwarka. Yet, as soon as he arrives there, he was chased by Sudarshan, the protector of Dwarka. Poor demon. Polaile na edai Sudarshana sthane, mahashaiva pori bole chakrer charane. Thinking that he would not be spared by Sudarshan if he tried to run away, that great creation of Shiva fell at Sudarshan's feet and spoke as follows. Jare polaite nahi parilo durvasa, narilo rakhite aja bhava digvasa. The demon said that Durvasa was unable to escape from you, and Brahma and Shiva were unable to protect him. Heno Mahavaishnav, Tejer sthane moi, kotha polaibo Prabhu je koristui. Therefore, Prabhu, how can I escape from you? You who are endowed with the prowess of a great Vaishnav. Jai Jai Prabhu Mor Sudarshana Nam, Dvitiya Shankar Teja Jai Krishna Dham. All glories to my master, whose name Sudarshan. You are as powerful as Lord Shiva. All glories to the abode of Lord Krishna. Jai Mahachakra Jai Vaishnava Pradhan. Jai Dushta Bhayankar Jai Shishtatran. All glories to Sudarshan Chakra, the best of the Vaishnavas. All glories to the destroyer of the miscreants and the protector of the pious. Stuti Shuni Santoshe Bolilo Sudarshan, Poragiya Jatha Ache Rajar Nandan. Sudarshan heard his prayer with satisfaction, and then instructed him to burn the king's son. Punashe Mahabhayankar Bahudiya, Chalila Kashi Raja Putra Poraiya. That terrifying creature then returned to Kashi and burned the prince to ashes. Tomare Langia Prabhu Shiva Puja Koilo, Ataeva Tar Jage Tahare Marilo. He transgressed you, O Lord, and worshipped Shiva. Therefore, he was killed in the course of his sacrifices. This is Advaita speaking again. Deshe bolilo Prabhu tomare langhiya. God, it's so annoying when it does that. More seva kore tare mari podaiya. That is why I declare that I will burn to ashes anyone who transgresses you and serves me. Gaudiya Bhashya. One who becomes anxious to envy the servants of Śrī Caitanya and who tries to introduce himself as a servant by assuming a relationship with Advaita is burned to ashes by Advaita like Sudakshina. Advaita Prabhu and Mahadev never accept worship from worshippers who are envious of Lord Vishnu and the Vaishnavas. Even today, proud people try to malign devotional service by proudly organizing rival assemblies, rival kirtans, and rival preaching. But Lord Vishnu and the Vaishnavas, who are objects of kirtan, perpetually destroy their propensity for serving Vaishnavas by engaging them in their own selfish interests. By their own behavior, such people destroy themselves by becoming servants of lust and anger. Therefore, pure devotional service takes leave of them forever. Tumi mor prananath, tumi mor dhan, tumi mor pita mata, tumi bandhu jan. You are the Lord of my life, and you are my wealth. You are my father and mother, and you are my dear friends. Oh, time is up. Okay, I'm going to end here. Sorry, I was supposed to stop at 194. Okay, so we will continue from this point tomorrow. Let's just read some of the translations, so we still have a couple minutes left. One who transgresses you and offers me obeisances is cutting off the head of his worshipable Lord and then trying to remedy the situation. Being pleased by the devotion of King Satyajit, the sun god directly appeared before him. Yet because of the offense of transgressing your order, he and his brother were killed. The sun god saw this with satisfaction. Although Duryodhan was a disciple of Baladev, he and his family members were killed because he disregarded you. Hiranyakashipu received benedictions from Brahma, yet he and his family members were killed when he disregarded you. The 10-headed Ravan took pleasure in cutting off others' heads. He worshipped Shiva, yet he was nevertheless killed along with his family members when he disregarded you. You are the origin of all demigods and the controller of everyone. All living entities, seen and unseen, are your servants. O Lord, if one disregards you and devotedly makes offerings to your servant, that servant accepts the offerings and kills that worshipper. Puja kai she das tahare sanghare. Thanks for that. Worshipping the demigods headed by Shiva while disregarding you is like watering the leaves of a tree after cutting its root. You are not the root of the Vedas, Brahmins, sacrifice and religious. You are the root of the Vedas, Brahmins, sacrifice and religious principles. I do not accept the worship of one who does not worship you. When Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata heard Advaita's explanation of the absolute truth, he roared loudly and spoke. Everyone, listen to my words. Any fallen soul who disrespects my servant and worships me cuts me into pieces. His worship feels like fire to my body. My wish-fulfilling holy names destroy one who blasphemes my servant. Wow. If someone commits Vaiṣṇava parad and they chant Harinam, then that Harinam destroys the person. My wish-fulfilling holy names destroy one who blasphemes my servant. All living entities in the innumerable universes are my servants. So anyone who blasphemes any living entity is ruined. Wow, that's an important point. All living entities are my servants. So anyone who blasphemes any living entity is ruined. You are more important than my own body. So if anyone transgresses you, he will be unable to tolerate his fate. If even a sannyasi blasphemes an innocent person, he goes to hell and all his religious principles are destroyed. Raising his arms, Lord Gauranga declared to the world, avoid offenses and chant the names of Krishna. Anandaka hoy sabe bolo Krishna nam. If one who is freed from blasphemy chants the name of Krishna even once, I will certainly deliver him. Oh, this is a famous verse. I've seen this many times. Anandaka hoy je sakrit Krishna bole, satya satya mui tare udharibo hele. When Mahaprabhu spoke these words, all the devotees chanted, Jai, Jai. Advaita cried and grabbed the Lord's 2 lotus feet. The Lord also began to cry as he embraced Advaita. The entire world floated in Advaita's ecstatic love. Such are the inconceivable topics of Advaita. Who has the power to understand Advaita's words? One should know that there is no difference between him and the Supreme Lord. If one understands the superficial quarrels between Nityananda and Advaita, he will attain supreme happiness. The words and activities of Vishnu and the Vaiṣṇavas are incomprehensible. Only by their mercy can one understand them. Only Lord Balaram has the power to understand the pastimes that took place between Nityananda and Advaita and their associates. And in his form as Ananta, he sings their glories with his 1,000 mouths. Vishvambar then glanced at Advaita and smiled as he spoke to him. Have I been mischievous like a child? Advaita replied, not particularly. The Lord said, listen, Nityananda Mahashaya, if I have been restless, please forgive me. Then Nityananda, Chaitanya, Advaita, and Haridas looked at one another and began to laugh. Vishwambara Mahaprabhu would address the most chaste wife of Advaita as mother. He'd call her Mata. The Lord said to her, "Go quickly and cook an offering for Krishna. Then we will eat." Thereafter, Vishwambara went to take bath in the Ganga with his associates, headed by Nityananda, Haridas, and Advaita. These ecstatic pastimes will be described in the Vedas. After taking bath, the Lord and his associates returned to the house. After washing his lotus feet, Mahaprabhu Vishwambara offered his obeisances to Krishna. Advaita then fell at the feet of Vishwambara, and Haridas fell at the feet of Advaita. Nityananda smiled while watching those wonderful pastimes. These three personalities are the bridge of transcendental religious principles. When the Lord began to rise, he saw Advaita at his lotus feet. He therefore quickly stood up and exclaimed, "Vishnu, Vishnu!" Thereafter, Vishwambara took Advaita by the hands and went with Nityananda to the dining room. The three lords, Vishwambara, Nityananda, and Advaita Ācārya, then sat down together to eat. We sing the song, jñāna-yoga Advaita Gauranga. By nature, the three lords were restless in their own ecstasies. Nityananda, however, was especially so because of his childish mood. Haridas, who was qualified to see those pastimes, sat down by the door and ate. Advaita's most chaste wife, who is an exalted devotee, remembered Lord Hari as she served them food. The three restless lords ate the finest rice with ghee, along with milk and sweet rice. Nityananda looked at Advaita and smiled. They are one, yet they have appeared as two for the purpose of assisting Krishna's pastimes. So remember, Nityananda and Advaita are non-different. When they had almost finished their meal, Nityananda became fully absorbed in the mood of a child. As Nityananda laughed loudly, he threw rice all about the room. And the Lord exclaimed, "Hoi, hoi, hi, hi!" And Haridas smiled. On seeing this, Advaita began to burn like fire with anger. On the pretext of anger, he then began to describe the glories of Nityananda. He said, "This Nityananda has ruined my caste. I don't know where this drunkard has come from. We don't know who his guru is, yet he poses as a sannyasi. We don't know for certain which village he was born in. No one knows him, and no one knows which caste he belongs to. He wanders about like a mad elephant. He has eaten in the house of Westerners. Now he is mingling here with the Brahmanas. Listen, Haridas, I tell you the truth. This drunkard Nityananda has ruined everything." Out of anger, Advaita lost his cloth. He clapped his hands as he danced and laughed loudly. And Lord Gauranga laughed on seeing the characteristics of Advaita. Nityananda laughed and displayed his two thumbs pointing up. Two thumbs pointing up? Yeah. I didn't realize that was, I thought that was just like a modern Western thing. I wonder what that means. Anyhow, seeing Advaita's anger, everyone from child to old age burst into blissful laughter. Shortly thereafter, Advaita regained his external consciousness. Then they all washed their hands and mouths and embraced one another. As Nityananda and Advaita embraced each other, the two Prabhus became overwhelmed in the mellows of ecstatic love. Those two Prabhus are the two arms of the Lord. They had only love for each other. There were no bad feelings between them for even a moment. The quarreling that is seen between them is part of Krishna's pastimes. The sporting of Vishnu and the Vaiṣṇavas is like that of children. In this way, Mahaprabhu was absorbed in his own ecstatic mood while enjoying the glorification of Krishna in the house of Advaita. Only Lord Balaram has the power to understand these pastimes. No one else can understand the nature of these pastimes. By the mercy of Balaram, Goddess Saraswati also knows these pastimes. That goddess glorifies these pastimes through the tongues of those who are qualified. We came across another verse like that before. I do not know the chronological order of these pastimes. Somehow or other, I'm simply singing Krishna's glories. I offer my obeisances at the feet of Lord Chaitanya's dear associates so that they will forgive my offenses. After staying for some days at the house of Advaita, the Lord returned to Navadvip with the three Prabhus. Thus the Lord returned to his home, accompanied by Nityananda, Advaita, and Haridas. When all the Vaishnavas heard, "The Lord has come," they came running in great ecstasy. On seeing the moon-like face of the Lord, all their miseries were vanquished. They fell at the Lord's lotus feet and began to cry, Gaurachandra Mahaprabhu, the life and soul of everyone, embraced each one of them with love. They were all equal to the Lord's own body. They were magnanimous and topmost devotees of the Lord. They offered obeisances to Advaita, by whose devotion Lord Chaitanya incarnated. All the Vaishnavas became intoxicated with ecstasy as they discussed topics of Krishna with the Lord. Mother Shachi became overwhelmed with ecstasy on seeing her son. She and her daughter-in-law prayed to Govinda for auspiciousness. Only the thousand-headed Lord, who is my life and soul, birth after birth, has the power to describe these pastimes. Just as Dvija, Vipra, and Brahman are different only in name, Nityananda and Baladev are similarly different only in name. Anyone who hears the pastimes that took place in the house of Advaita will join in such pastimes. Haribol! Accepting Śrī Krishna Chaitanya and Nityananda Prabhu as my life and soul, I, Vrindavan Das, sing the glories of their lotus feet. So we will read all that tomorrow with the Gaudiya Bhashyas. But I just wanted to finish that. Thanks for letting me go 5 minutes over time. I'll do a short Jaidwani and we will end. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai Jai Srila Gurudev Ki Jai Jai Srila Param Gurudev Ki Jai Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Swaparshad Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai Swaparshad Shri Gaur Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopigan Ki Jai Shri Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Jai Shri Advaita Ācārya Ki Jai Advaita's house Ki Jai Advaita's wives Sita Thakurani and Shri Devi Ki Jai Jai Shriman Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Shriman Nityananda Prabhu, I already said Nityananda Prabhu. Swaparshad Shri Gaur Hari Ki Jai Shri Achyutananda Ki Jai Shri Gadadhar Pandit Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata Ki Jai Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai Jai the Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vo Sitanath Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vo Vrindai Tulsidevai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Hare Krishna, Andri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Devagna Sharma. I always feel like I'm not saying your name properly, but I just see Devangna. Yeah, Sharma. And everybody else here, Raseshwari Mataji, Hari Priya Didi, Rupmanjari Didi, Nitai, Kishore Prabhu, Vangsiwala Prabhu, Vidya Lalasa Didi, Sudevi Didi, and wow, so many comments today. And all devotees, everybody else watching, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you so much for letting me go on much longer than going 5 minutes over time. And yeah, Jai Shri Gaura Advaita Ki Jai. Jai Nityananda Advaita Gauranga. Haribol. Is there anything that that either of you would like to mention before we stop the live stream? All right. So that is our session for today. Tomorrow we will finish up this chapter. And thank you so much. Jai Shri Radhe. Haribol. See you tomorrow.